Welcome to From Dorms to Desks, job hunting tips for those early in their careers, a podcast brought to you by College Recruiter job search site, which believes that every student and recent grad deserves a great career, and hosted by Work Defined. Join our AI co-hosts as they dive into tips, tricks, and insights that will help you land your next part-time, seasonal, internship, or entry-level job. Let's get your career started.
It is February 3rd, 2026. And if you're a student, or you care about one, you know exactly what that date means. The shock of the new semester is gone, winter break feels like a memory, and suddenly there's this very loud clock ticking in the background.
The summer internship clock.
The summer internship clock. You walk across campus, you're just trying to get a coffee, and you hear people at the next table talking about offers they got back in, like November. And you just get that sinking feeling, that thought of, I haven't even started, I'm already behind.
It's a very real panic. It's like the Sunday scaries, but for a whole semester.
Exactly. So today, we're doing a bit of crisis management.
Sure.
But, and this is important, we are not doing the panic and apply to 500 random jobs on the internet thing.
That is the impulse. It is not the solution.
It is not the solution. Instead, we are doing a deep dive into a very specific document that came out just a couple of weeks ago from College Recruiter.
Right. This is their week one checklist.
And what I love about this source is the framing. It doesn't ask you to solve your entire life. It's just, here is what you do in the next 7 days to get back in the game.
It's a reset button. And honestly, the value here isn't just the list itself, it's the psychology. It takes this huge, terrifying thing, the job hunt, and breaks it down into 6 kind of boring, manageable tasks.
Boring is good. Boring gets done.
Boring gets done. When you're anxious, you don't need inspiration. You need instructions.
So our mission today is to walk through these 6 steps, but I want to dig in a bit.
Yeah.
The checklist says do this, but I want to understand why these specific moves actually work. Because some of them seem almost too simple.
They do, but that's because they're designed to work with how recruiters actually think and, how their software operates.
Okay, perfect. Let's get into it. Step 1, the foundation. The source calls it the core resume update. And okay, update your resume. That's pretty generic advice.
Right.
But the checklist is very specific about what to update right now.
This is key. The mistake is just changing the date. You think, well, I'm still in school. Nothing's really changed since December. But your data has changed. You have a new GPA.
On the fall semester.
Exactly, from the fall semester. If your GPA went up, you are actively underselling yourself by using an old resume. If you made the dean's list and it's not on there, for all a recruiter knows, it didn't happen.
What about the anxiety around winter break? For students who feel like, I just went home for 4 weeks, I didn't have some big internship.
The experience gap. The source talks about winter projects. Did you volunteer somewhere? Did you teach yourself a new piece of software?
Okay, but does that actually count? If I spent 3 weeks learning Python from YouTube videos, does a recruiter really care?
It counts if you frame it right. It shows you don't just sit still. A recruiter looks at a resume as a timeline. A blank space is neutral, but independent study. Python fundamentals, January 2026. That signals curiosity. It tells a story of activity.
Okay, so we've updated the content. Now we get to the file itself. The source has this very, very specific instruction on how to save the file. And I'll be honest, when I first read this, I kind of rolled my eyes.
It feels like nitpicking, I get it, but I would argue this is one of the most important tips in the entire document.
The instruction is, save it as a PDF and name it first name, last name, resume2026.pdf.
Right. Okay, let's peel back the curtain here. Imagine you're a recruiter. You have thousands of documents in a download folder from 5 different career fairs.
And half of them are just called resume.docs.
Or My Resume Final. Or Resume V2. If your file is named resume.pdf, you're creating work for the recruiter. You're creating friction.
And in a stack of 500 applicants, friction is death.
Friction is rejection. That recruiter is tired. They're moving fast. By naming it first name, last name, you become searchable. If they remember meeting someone named Sarah and type Sarah into their computer search, you pop up. If your file is named resume, you're gone.
You're just lost in the shuffle. What about the PDF part? Why not a Word doc?
That's all about risk management. A Word document can look completely different on different computers or on a phone.
Oh, I didn't even think about mobile.
Recruiters are reviewing these on iPads, on their phones, between meetings. You might have spent hours on your margins, but when they open it, the formatting is a mess. Your 1-page resume is now a page and a half.
And you just look sloppy. even though it's a software problem.
Exactly. A PDF is a snapshot. It locks everything in place. What you see is what they see. It's really the only professional way to send it.
All right, step 1 is done. The document is updated, named correctly. Step 2 means actually leaving your dorm room, utilizing career services.
Which is probably the most underutilized resource on any campus, period.
Why is that? I mean, we all know it's there. Why do people resist going?
I think it's a mix of imposter syndrome and, a fear of being judged. You feel like you need to have your life figured out before you go in there.
It's like cleaning your house before the cleaning service arrives.
Yeah. Exactly that. So the source breaks it down into 3 really low-stakes actions. The first is just calendar-based. Find out the date of the spring career fair.
Not go to it yet. Just find the date.
Just know when it is.
Yeah,
because these fairs are usually happening the next, 3 to 4 weeks. If you miss that date, you've missed your single biggest opportunity to connect with employers all semester. So just put the date in your phone. That's it.
The second action item is my favorite. Drop-in hours.
Love drop-ins.
How is a drop-in different from a full appointment?
An appointment feels serious. It implies you need a 30-minute life plan. A drop-in is usually 10 or 15 minutes. It's for quick checks. Can you look at my resume? Is this cover letter too long? It just lowers the barrier to entry.
And the source says to use it for a resume review.
Yes. And here's the little nugget on that. The Career Center staff, they talk to the recruiters who come to your campus. They might know that, say, the engineers from Boeing who were here last week complained that they couldn't find the skills section.
Oh.
So they'll tell you, hey, for the fair next week, move your skills to the top. That's insider information you just can't get from a Google search.
That's tailored intelligence.
Yeah.
Huge. The third part of step 2 is to sign up for one workshop or networking event this month.
This is just about breaking the seal. You go to one, you realize everyone else is just as lost as you are. It normalizes the whole thing.
Okay, moving on. We have the resume, we have the campus connection, now we go digital. Step 3, setting up digital search engines.
The job alert.
Explain that. Why is an alert better than just, scrolling through job boards every morning?
It's about energy conservation. If your strategy is to wake up and scroll for an hour every day, you will burn out. It's demoralizing.
Looking at pages of things you aren't even qualified for.
Exactly. A job alert flips that. You set your parameters once, marketing internships, summer 2026, Chicago, and now the robots are working for you. You don't hunt, you receive. You wake up to 3 new leads in your inbox. It changes your whole mindset.
The source also says something interesting about location. It says to filter by location, not just to find jobs, but to see what the volume looks like. What does that mean?
This is about using the job board as a market research tool. It's a really smart distinction.
So what would that look like in practice?
Okay, let's say you're a biology major looking for a biotech internship. You search for that in your small college town. You get 0 results. You start to panic.
Right.
But then you change the location filter to Boston or maybe San Diego, and suddenly there are 500 results. You just learned something critical. You didn't just find jobs. You learned that you might be looking in the wrong market.
So the volume check is telling you where the actual demand is for your skills.
Precisely. It helps you pivot your strategy in week 1 instead of figuring out in April that your town has no biotech industry.
That's a great point. Don't just look for a job. Look at the shape of the job market. Okay, step 4. This is where we shift from passive to active. The top 10 list.
This is moving from defense to offense.
The task is to list 10 companies you would love to work for.
What does it really take to lead with impact in today's ever-evolving world? Welcome to Inside the C-Suite, the podcast where influence, energy, innovation, and empathy converge. Hi, I'm Christy Honeycutt, your host. Join me as I sit down with the boldest voices in leadership, visionaries who are not just making decisions, but making a difference. In every episode, we explore the heart of leadership. How do high-performing leaders harness their energy? How do they lead with empathy without losing their edge? How do they turn disruption into innovation and pressure into purpose? You'll hear unfiltered stories of adversity, resilience, and the raw moments that shaped true influence. This isn't about perfection. It's about presence, passion, and the energetic exchange that fuels transformation. Inside the C-Suite is your invitation to lead from a deeper place, with intention, connection, and courage. If you're ready to go beyond the surface and unlock what really moves leaders to action, hit subscribe and step inside. You can find us wherever you get your podcast fix. Inside the C-Suite, well, we're an energetic exchange. Let's lead with influence, live with energy, and create with empathy.
But the source really stresses this part. You make the list, regardless of whether they have a posting up right now.
So important. If you only apply to places that have a live listing on there, Indeed, you are fighting in the most crowded arena possible. Everybody sees that.
So what do you do with this list if they aren't on LinkedIn or Indeed?
You go directly to their corporate careers page. You go to the source.
Is there really a difference? I mean, don't they post everything everywhere?
Not always, and almost never at the same time. There's often a lag. A job might be live on their own site for a few days before the aggregator sites even find it. You get a head start.
The so-called hidden job market.
Sort of. Or sometimes huge companies don't even bother posting internship roles on big boards because they get enough traffic on their own. If you aren't checking their site, you literally never even see the opportunity.
And I've got to imagine that applying directly through their own system shows a higher level of interest.
100%. It tells the recruiter you sought them out specifically. It says, I want to work at your company, not just, I want any internship. It's a quality signal.
Okay, step 5. I think this might be the most powerful one in the whole list. We're going back to career services for a strategy appointment, a full sit-down.
This is where you leverage the school's institutional memory.
And the source gives you a script. It gives you one very specific, powerful question to ask. I'm going to read it word for word.
Do it.
The question is, which employers in my field have recruited from our school in the past 3 years?
It's a laser-guided question, just brilliant.
Why is that phrasing so effective? Why not just ask, who's hiring?
Because who's hiring is a question for Google. Who recruits us is proprietary data. Companies have target schools. If a company has been to your campus for the last 2 years, they have a relationship. They have a pipeline. They know what a 3.5 GPA from your school means.
You're identifying warm leads.
You're identifying the warmest possible leads. If you apply to some random company, you're a total unknown. But if you apply to a company that hires 3 people from your department every single summer, you are part of a known pattern. The path is already paved.
And the past 3 years part keeps it current.
Exactly. You don't care who hired someone in 2015. You want to know who is active now. This turns the advisor from a general guide into your personal data analyst.
And that list they give you is pure gold. Those are your highest probability targets. They
Yeah.
should go right to the top of that top 10 list you just made.
Absolutely.
Okay, final step. Step 6, the human element, networking.
Groans. The word everyone hates to hear.
It makes people sweat. It
Yeah.
feels so transactional. But the source makes this incredibly manageable. The goal for week 1 is not build your network. It's reach out to one alumnus.
Just one.
Just one. Find them on LinkedIn or the school's alumni database. They should be working in your dream field.
And ideally, maybe 2 to 5 years out of school. Close enough to remember being in your shoes, but far enough along to have some actual perspective.
Now, the message. This is where people freeze. The source gives you the 3-sentence rule.
I love rules like this. It stops you from writing a novel.
So what's the structure? Sentence 1.
Sentence 1 is the hook. Who are you and what's the connection? Hi, I'm a junior studying finance here at university. You establish that you're in the same tribe.
Okay. Sentence 2.
The connection. Why them specifically? I saw on LinkedIn you're working at company, which is a place I'd love to be in a few years. It's flattering, but it also shows you've done your homework.
And the crucial 3rd sentence. The ask.
The ask. And this is critical.
Yep.
You do not ask for a job.
Say that again.
Never, ever ask for a job or an internship in a cold email. It puts them on the defensive. It's too much pressure.
So what do you ask for?
You ask for their story. Would you have maybe 15 minutes in the coming weeks for a brief chat? I'd love to hear a little about how you got your start.
How you got your start.
Everyone loves to talk about themselves. You're asking for their origin story. You're making them the expert. It's low stakes, it's flattering, and people are way more likely to say yes.
It's a classic informational interview.
Exactly. And once you have that 15-minute call, you're not a stranger anymore. And then if an internship opens up at their company a month later, you can follow up. But you have to play the human game first.
So that's the checklist. Let's do a quick recap just to lock it in.
Let's do it. 1. Update your resume, especially GPA, and save it as first name, last name, resume, 2026.pdf.
2. Career services. Get the career fair date on your calendar and do one quick drop-in resume review.
3. Set up job alerts so you're not hunting manually. And check the volume by location to do market research.
4. Make that top 10 dream company list and check their websites directly.
5. Book that strategy appointment and ask the magic question. Who has recruited here in the last 3 years?
And 6, reach out to just one alum with a 3-sentence message asking for their story, not a job.
When you lay it out, it's really not that bad. It's a weekend's worth of work.
It is completely doable.
Yeah.
And it puts you so far ahead of everyone who's just spinning their wheels and worrying.
Mm-hmm.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought, though. Looking at this checklist as a whole, I'm noticing a theme.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
So much of this advice, the career services question, the alumni outreach, even checking company sites, it's all about looking backward.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way.
We think of the job search as this forward-looking thing, what's opening tomorrow. But this guide argues that the best predictor of your future success is actually analyzing the past data of your own ecosystem.
You're right. It's about finding the established patterns. The hiring market isn't just random chaos. It's a system of pipelines and relationships built over years. This checklist isn't just about applying for jobs. It's about mapping that system.
Mapping the system. So the question for you, the listener, is, are you spending all your energy looking for what's available now? Or are you taking the time to see where the tracks have already been laid by people just like you?
It's the difference between hunting in a dark forest and following a map.
Well, hopefully you now have a map. You can start your week 1 today.
Just please, for the love of everything, fix your resume file name first.
First name, last name, resume 2026.pdf.
Laughs. I'm going to have that on a t-shirt.
Go get it done. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Good luck out there.
This has been From Dorms to Desks, job hunting tips for those early in their careers. A podcast brought to you by college recruiter job search site, which believes that every student and recent grad deserves a great career. Each episode, we dive into tips, tricks, and insights that will help you land your next part-time, seasonal, internship, or entry-level job. Subscribe to this podcast for free now, so you don't miss an episode, and visit www.collegerecruiter.com to find your next great job.